Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media universe. So glad to be hosting another episode of this show. Pedro's going to be running a little late today. That's typical lately because now he is battling the insurance companies trying to fix his smashed up car. So got to take care of that. Anyway, he'll be on the show here in a little bit. It's a good week this week for various numbers. It's a light week for number, but still good, meaning that if you're a trader, you need to pay attention to Thursday. Unemployment claims come out, can have a lot of volatility in the market, and Friday is non-farm payroll. I've just explained that, but I noticed a bunch of people just came in over on Rumble, and I'll re-explain that. Non-farm payroll, if you recall, back in the day, the United States and most countries had at least half or more of their employment was in agriculture. And so the agricultural employment was a big driver of the numbers and that type of stuff. But now it's a much smaller number because of automation and the yields going up. But they still call it non-farm payroll. It's a direct relationship basically on the employment health of the economy. And that can have a lot of volatility, and that comes out on Fridays. It used to be on Wednesdays. In the middle of the week, it was better. Now they turned Friday into a shit show for trading because of it. And they do it on Friday. Two things to watch out this week. Anyway, like I said earlier, it's June 2nd, 2025. Bitcoin's not doing much. It's kind of trading, as they say, in the idiot box. If you look at this chart over my shoulder here. Let's see what we can get out of this here. The one I have is the 5-minute chart. We're going to switch over to the trading view chart, and I've got these blue lines all over it. I've been adding these to my chart to help me kind of gauge where to trade, what's going on. And as you can see here, up in the top here, I have the weekly close from the week before, and which is also the daily open, because the day and the week's close and open at the same time at the top of the hours. In this little area here in this box is 7 to 11 a.m. New York session time. And that is where Pedro and the other trading world says this is when you need to set up your trades, look for your trade, and take it and let it play out the rest of the day. You don't have to close your trade by 11, but just got to let it play out. And if it doesn't set up by then, it's probably not going to during the day, and it gets more risky. So I draw these things on my chart now to give me a good idea. And this morning looked like it's going to be a great morning. We had a big sell-off. Usually after a big sell-off, there's what? Yep, big run-up in price. That didn't happen. But we're doing a little consolidation right now. I'm in a trade right now that is, it's on this screen, I believe. No, it's on the Mexi screen. Yeah, I'm up 10 whole dollars. But you can see this, this thing is doing... These are highly technical terms here. This thing is doing this. It's forming this flag. And when it forms, after coming down like this, and it's consolidating like that, it seems to be quite equal. It means I have no idea which way it's going. We'll let Pedro come on and talk about that. But anyway, let's look at the higher time frames. This is the day. Let's go to the weekly chart. The weekly chart. Pedro likes to talk about the weekly chart. It's funny as I just. Oh wait, that's. Let's do it on TradingView. Hopefully I didn't delete that. You know what? I did delete it. Go back to Mexi. All right, if you were paying attention a while ago, back when we were here, this is a weekly chart. We've had a number of good weeks in a row here. About 2 months ago, Pedro and I are talking, and Pedro was also out that day. And I had given the prediction that the weekly chart was going to do this. People were saying, look, it's over here. It's rolling down. It's going to go down to 40,000. I was like, no, it's you know, it's gonna do this. And I didn't get it quite right. I thought it would take a little bit longer, but as you can see, it followed the pattern that I predicted exactly. It just did it sooner than I thought, which I thought to myself was like, hey, got something right for a change here. But I'm learning, and that's why I listened to what Pedro was telling me. I listened to the charts, and while the great Twitterverse and all the super huge, massive influencers were telling everybody it's going down, it's going down, it's going down to 40. You know, you listen to Pedro, and you can see where the turnarounds are. You know, Pedro is sitting here going, looks like there's going to be some support. Support. And I just drew a line instead of the support line, right about there. And sure enough, bounced right off that and went back up. And that's where we are today. The daily chart here. Let's get rid of these lines here. I am not the trading view maven here. And as you can see, also, if you recalled, a couple of days ago, when Pedro was out, I was talking about the daily chart and how the daily on this tall green arrow here. I don't know if I can get up there and point to it. Let me if this works here. Oops, wrong button.
Space, the final frontier.
We were right here, and I was saying, pay attention to the 21 period moving average here, and we were starting to get too far away from it. And the daily candles were this. You could see this space was growing right here, and inevitably it's got to come back to it, either through a combination or either through consolidation and letting the 21 catch up, or a reversal and coming down in price to meet the 21, or a combination of both. And it kind of did both. Past couple of days, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know, over the last 2 weeks, we've had more red days than green days. Thus, the price has come down to, in fact, cross under the 21-day moving average, and that was fully expected. The price can't go up forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Well, speaking of, let me update the price here. Did the price update? Oh, I guess so. No, it didn't. Why did it not update? Gecko's pricing is a little bit behind. We're actually dropping back down into the 103s here. Anyway, with the daily chart here, you can see down in the stochastics, they're down low, which means what? They can go up. In fact, they can only go up, or don't be fooled by that. They can also stay down there the same. That everything's oversold right now, and this is the 1-day chart. Let's move down a time frame. This is the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, as you can see here, is what's important about the 4-hour chart here is this right here. This red line is the 200 period moving average. And you can see we're right along that. In fact, 2 days ago, it came down and essentially got near the 200 and bounced off it. And if we were to look at the probably the 6-hour, no, not the 6-hour. If we were to look at the 3-hour, it probably would have kissed that right exactly. And then the moving average has been holding this, the pricing in that. If we drop below this 200 period moving average, things start to get a little bit more bearish, at least in the short term. So we're watching that carefully. What did I just drop? Oh, my pen came apart again. Great. So this is an important level to keep watching here. So if you're out there, learning about this stuff, Pedro would tell you keep your eye on the moving averages and the trend, for the 4-hour here is definitely on the longer term moving averages is up, but it seems to be changing. Sure, Pedro would have a technical term for that, but one of the things you can look at is divergence. Is there divergence? Some lower lows. RSI, lower lows, or lower highs. Just saying, that's kind of saying that the trend is turning down. But they're really, they're close. They're too close for me to really understand it fully, because I'm just learning about divergences. I shouldn't say I'm just learning about them. I'm learning about them again. The last time I learned about them was in, we'll say 1987, working on the floor of the Commodities Exchange and the New York Mercantile Exchange. But they were on paper charts. You get a printout every morning. And my job didn't have anything to do with the charts, but obviously I tried to learn what was going on the floor. And I didn't really have to pay attention to them that much until I had to deal with options on the New York Futures Exchange. The trader I had to interact with was very big into the charts, so I started to learn. And then really as I started to get a lot better at them, the summer ended, I went back to school, and the next summer I came back and I worked in a different area and did something differently. And then I get back into the charts later in life, and they're totally different. There's a lot more information. We used to have to draw the candles during the day and draw them. And some guys, you'd look at their chart and say, hey, can I was, if you go out, your doctor's appointment, or if you have some off-floor appointment, you come back and you miss something on the chart, usually you can ask one of your buddies, say, can I look at your chart and draw it? And some guys are like, no problem, you can look at my other guys. They're like, no, I write my trading notes on it, so you can't see it. But then they'll just recount, in this hour I did this, and this hour I did that. But some guys would write their charts that look like doctor's scratch. You're like, I can't read that. Just drawing a bar, a guy would just draw an arrow up and one arrow down. Other people would be meticulous and draw them exact. Now we have TradingView. Every indicator known to mankind, you can even make your own. Anyway, while I was talking here, I went from up $10 to minus $12 on that trade. How about that? But I'm keeping an eye on this 400 or 200 period moving average. If it dips below that, my stop is just below that. Let me see where that is. That's 103. My stop is my stop's a little higher than that, anticipating the moving average coming up a little bit. So if it gets close to that, my order will be stopped out. In case you're asking, this is the demo account on Mexi. I use the demo account in both Mexi and our sponsor BitFi right here, a QR code. And I do a lot of trade practicing there. If you've heard me talk about it recently, I started dabbling in trading with live funds again after taking a long time off to learn how to do it better. And that was just learning one thing on one chart in essentially, one small time period. There's about billions other things to learn. And if you've learned one area, you do the things you practice with, not with your own cash, but with fake cash. Why risk your own money? Everyone else in the market is literally out there just trying to take your money. Remember, with crypto token trading and futures markets, there are zero-sum games. For every person that wins $1, someone loses $1. And the reason so many day traders can exist and make money in the futures markets is simply just from the amount of money that's in the market from institutions. The NASDAQ now is worth, or the stock market, I don't even know what the correct terminology is, but it's about $135 trillion. And most of that is traded, in a short period of time. And so that day traders that sit there and, make a few $100,000 here and there over the period of, over a year. Just provide those efficiencies in the markets to kind of arbitrage the prices even closer. And the large, institutions on 135 trillion, if they lose a couple hundred billion to the day trader markets, it's barely even registers as a statistical. It's a statistical anomaly for them. So it's very interesting. Very interesting. Let's go down in time frame down to the 1 hour. The 1 hour, as you can see here, let me get rid of some of these, is below the 200 period moving average, below the 100 period moving average, and also below the 20, and riding right along on the 8 period moving average here. And you can see over the past, since midnight last night, really haven't done much. Not at all. The only funny thing was in the overnight session in London got a little cranky last night. In the New York time of 5 to 7, right where this candle is here, in the area between 5 and 7 a.m. You really want to see not much happening going on with the market. I learned this little bit of advice just a couple of weeks ago. You want the people in London to be done with their trading session, not much go on, and then New York open strong, essentially at 7 a.m. when the markets kind of get going in New York. And if there's any funny business in that time, expect a wonky day. And there was some funny business in that time. We had a lot of volatility and volume come in a time period, which we don't see that much. And if we get down to the shorter time frames in the 15-minute, you can see here, this was London going up here. And then coming down here. Normally it's a straight line from here all the way over to 7 a.m. There's just not much going on. But there's some shenanigans going, and so the forums are like, hey, watch out. If there's shenanigans going then, there's going to be shenanigans going today. And the volatility on the open was a little crazy. And Monday, they do a lot of fake move Mondays. And remember, on Mondays, what happens a lot? Remember, payroll is on Friday. And it is also the end of the month, which is also guaranteed payroll. That means on Monday morning, there's a lot of money that came into 401ks that needs to be allocated into various funds. And that probably happens auto-magically over the weekend in the big companies' computer systems. But then on Monday morning, we'll call them the institutional trading desks, come in and they look at their order books. And now the computer does it all, but they still have a manual review process when they have a lot of money built up. And someone presses the go button. All right, we need to invest all that money. And that's why you see a lot of these on the opens on Mondays, a lot of the big pump up. And everyone thinks, oh, the market's going crazy. It's strong. Everything's great. It's just guys literally allocating the 401k money that came in and pension fund money that came in from people's payroll checks. It used to take much longer because the money took longer to transfer and settle and all that type of stuff. But now with the new Fed payment system coming in, and the payroll companies working on it, and obviously the banks are all on. It's not FedWire, but it's the Fed's payment rails. Whatever, things happen a lot faster, and so the money is there on Monday morning, sometimes Tuesday morning, when the traders come in and say, all right, we got a couple $100 billion in payroll 401k money. What do we got to do with it? Got to put it in the market. So that's why you see a lot of volatility on Mondays, and they call it fake move Monday. That move goes in, and people think, hey. And of course, it pushes the market up, and then the arbitrage guys pull it back down. And that's what you can see what happened right here. In fact, it went up much higher, this candle right here. Then it wicked down. You can see the sell pressure on it. And then it just went crazy there. One of the big things that I like to look forward to that I learned from watching Sam Price, the crypto lifer, was the 200 MA trick, as you hear me talking about the SM 200 smooth moving average, or simple moving average, not smooth, simple moving average. is every time the moving average price action crosses the 200 moving average, you can be in for, if it goes down, it's going to drop a little bit, but if it comes up, the price is going to go up a little bit. That 200 period moving average is something that a lot of bots watch. So when the price goes above it, the bots kick in and moves the price, accordingly. So today, let's just go over this trade in the morning that I saw happening. Let's see. Yeah, it was right here. This was a classic buy signal. It shot above the 200 moving average here, and so you wait for a period for it to close above that to show that it's going to stay above it, and it did, and then it popped right up here and sold off, and you're like, it's supposed to stay here, consolidate, and then bull flag up and keep going. But it dropped right down, and the reason is Fake Move Monday. This green was driven by traders allocating stock, and if you look over at NASDAQ, the NASDAQ did exactly the same thing, and so Bitcoin followed it. Here, I'll put the NASDAQ chart on here. This is the NASDAQ chart, same thing, different time period. Anyway, this is when the NASDAQ futures opened at 9:30. Boop! Came right up. In fact, Sam called it exactly. He gave out like a buy signal, like right here, right on that candle. He's like, hey, it's going to pop. And then 2 minutes later, it did. I unfortunately was showering at this time. But anyway, then it immediately came right back down because this is Fake Move Monday. Traders bought all their 401k and pension money. And then the arbitrage guy said, all right, that was a fake move. Let's sell that off. Boop, come all the way down, take our profits, and go from there. But there was a couple other times. Let's go back to Bitcoin. And let's go back to Mexi here. You can see once again, oh, no Patriot. I thought I heard him in my ear. Anyway, this red line here, let me bring up so I can see myself. This red line here is the 200 period simple moving average. And you can see that the market flirted with it a couple of times with this triple top. And that triple top it's kind of a double top, and then it broke it a little bit here. If you watch Twitter and X, that people will be like, triple top, short it, short the market, short it, it's going down, it's going down. But that's not what the charts were actually telling you. What the triple top said, there's a lot of liquidity on this side right above here because all these people are wanting to short it, which means the retail or the institutional money in the morning is going to come gobble that up. And they did. Look at that. They short squeezed these guys. If you had Bookmap open or one of the heat maps that shows where the liquidity is, it would showed a big red band right here, and then it went gobbled it up and blasted past the 200 period moving average up all the way up here, and once again it sold off. This after the second time doing it after the open, expected this to stay up. And so I had a trade on there. I let it ride, and I got stopped out as I came back down here at break even. I should have taken the profits, but my goal was much higher. It was a 3-for-1 trade. This was only about 1-for-1 here. And then it kept flirting with the 200 period moving average over and over again here. Finally, staying above it. Let me move that over. Staying above it here at, let's see, about 11:14, kind of the end of the session as far as when you want to start a trade. And then it's just been, as they say, trading in the idiot box since then with no real direction at all. That's your Bitcoin morning. Pedro would be impressed. Anyway, shout out to everyone on Rumble watching. Thanks. I see that there's 11 of you there watching on Rumble. I really appreciate it. YouTube, you guys are slacking. Let's see some comments. Let's see. Let me go check the YouTube feed. Where is the stream? The Monday market update. Well, not a lot of you on YouTube. I wonder why. Anyway, we'll drop a comment here to get the algorithm machine going. Hit the like button. So you got to do all these things. All right, let's update the pricing here. Anyway, Bitcoin's still up, if you can see from the pricing graph there. We're still over $2 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. $2 trillion. There's Zen Regen. Hey guys, took me weeks to find you on YouTube again. Yes, you caught us before in the morning when we were doing some morning shows when I was traveling, and we've been doing the afternoon shows for a while. Pedro, you're doing great, Striking. Thanks, Zen. Appreciate it. Pedro wrecked his car last week or 2 weeks ago, and he's not hurt. He's fine. But he's been dealing with insurance companies, and he waits on hold endlessly. And Pedro's cam, in connection to our show, is his phone, so he can't do both at the same time. Yes, pre-market my time. Make sure you're live, Zen. Oh, you are, because you can tell. I can tell. Well, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Remember, share this with your friends if you're in a trading group or something like that. Say, hey, come on over and watch Tom and Pedro, or otherwise known as Striking here. Although I'll take Striker. If you ever watch the movie Airplane, you'll know what I mean. If you've got something you want me to review or look at, as I said, I'm just practicing my technical analysis here, and as I'm filling in for Pedro while he's doing that, and working on my trading. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see, where did I leave off here? Right, Jerome's speaking, but in these off speeches, the market will still react funny. But in these off speeches, when he addresses people for other reasons, where is my Forex factory? Oh, that's not it. Oh, I must have closed the Forex factory. Oh, there it is. Let's see. I forget. I reviewed what he was doing. Let's see. Opening remarks. Oh yeah, it's their anniversary conference in Washington D.C. He will be giving remarks. Not expected to give any indication about rates or anything like that, because these events are not the time for that. But if he gives the right wink, wink, nod, nod, flicks his wrist the right way, the market's going to interpret that as good or bad, and we'll see some volatility. So get your spread orders on. Get one long with a stop close by, one short with a stop close by, and maybe the market will zoom one direction. Yeah, he's probably not talking about rates. He might talk historically about rates and talk about how they've done in the past and how the Fed has been adapting to changes and that type of stuff, and used interest rates effectively and blah, 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 blah. But I seriously doubt he'd give any indication on the future. Yeah, it says here in the Forex thing is volatility is often experienced during his speeches as traders attempt to decipher interest rate clues. Like I said, like, oh, he looked over that direction, and that's where the interest rate PhDs sit. So that's a sign. You never know. Yeah, they're going to need to buy more bonds. They talked about thinning. A couple of months ago, they were talking about getting their balance sheet in order, which means less debt on their balance sheet. But now with the new big beautiful bill coming out and spending going up instead of going down, they're going to need to be buying some bonds and doing the money printer. Hey, Vincent. Thanks for joining us. Coming to you from Nigeria. Don't burn all your data up. Make sure you go on your phone there and change it to like 144, in the quality. Put it on the lowest setting, and then you'll burn up a lot less data. Where Vincent lives, there's not a lot of Wi-Fi, and so he's got to use his data for his phone, and that's expensive in certain parts of the world when there's only one provider, and you're essentially in the middle of nowhere. Yes, but Zen about them buying more bonds. Money printer's going to come on, going to be devaluing the U.S. dollar as a result, as they print more money. The big beautiful bill is as much as Elon and crew has tried to reduce government spending through Doge, or at least not. People always are trying to gauge it by how many dollars did he actually spend, and they argue whether it's this many billion or that many billion. The main thing he wanted to accomplish was accountability, and transparency, and that worked very well. And however many billions he shaved off, one group says 400 billion, another one says 180 billion. The new big beautiful bill is adding $3.5 trillion to the deficit, or the national debt, I should say, not the deficit, which is not a good thing. The country doesn't need tax cuts. I mean, maybe some in manufacturing to spur capital investment, but as long as it's relatively fair and not burdensome, all of the depreciation schedules are good. There is one of the tax laws that's expiring that will be re-enabled is the ability to depreciate fully any capital expenditure for your company. So say you spend $600 million building a new factory. In the past, you'd have to depreciate that over 10 years and take 1/10 of the depreciation against your taxes as an expense. And but they were allowing people to do that all in 1 year, and a lot of big companies just wouldn't pay any tax. But they built a $1 billion factory or a $600 million factory or whatever it was. That's going to be re-enabled, and that one hurts taxes a lot. It saves big companies a ton of money. Does it spur innovation? Does it spur capital expense? No, I don't think so, because those companies are going to build their factories anyway, based on market needs. But I think Elon was in his interview on CBS This Morning yesterday, summed it up quite well. He said, you can have a bill that's big, or you can have a bill that's beautiful, but you can't have one that's both. And that's true. And of course, the press ran with it, saying that it was a critique of President Trump, and Elon was criticizing the president. And he said, no, that's not what happened. All he said was that a bill can be big or beautiful, but not both. And speaking of big and beautiful, ladies and gentlemen, you hear that deep, thunderous voice, none other than Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, coming on. Pedro, what's happening?
Hey, what's up? Coming up, guys? Sorry about that. I had to take care of some business, and it's always fun dealing with insurance, and what is happening is good. Let's go. That pulled up perfect.
Zen asked just quickly, I was talking about the economy and various other things. How does the devalued dollar affect trading crypto? Nothing really big in the short term. Ultimately, it affects the stock market and obviously the bond market. And when Bitcoin is trading in concert with the NASDAQ and with the S&P 500, or trades, badly in relation to yields going up or prices of bonds going down, or whichever way you want to, whichever way you're going, long or short. Then it has an effect. It's nothing quick. I mean, on a trading day when they announce numbers that, well, we're going to print $3 trillion, traders will take advantage of that and on a short term. But it takes those types of things take long term. And if you're a day trader or even just a short term trader, you won't notice those types of things.
Well, here's the thing, like just the idea of just the dollar going down is good for like crypto traders, because it means just that if you're in crypto, your dollar or your crypto goes up innately, because if you're out, let's say you're in the rest of the world, right? And not to say that the dollar and Bitcoin trade.
Well, it's different. I see where you. Hold on, let me interrupt you. I see where you're going with that. It's different. Speaking about the dollar in crypto versus the Nigerian naira and in crypto, or Brazilian whatever it is down in reals. No, I forget. Whatever, in which they have heavy inflation and stuff like that. Obviously, that's a different situation. Kind of the same family of problems, but a much different situation than the U.S. Oh, that's the NASDAQ.
And I think what's interesting, just to make sure we even understand that fully. And again, I don't even fully understand that. I am not an economist. Like, I'm a trader, so I'm not gonna pretend like I've gone to school and but I mean, I have been in this for quite a few years and really read through a lot of stuff.
Hey, Pedro, sorry, when you wear the microphone in front of your mouth like that, you hear the.
Oh, is that better like that then?
Yeah, I don't hear you as well, but when you hear the air for every P that you.
What about that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, perfect. So maybe like that then.
Yeah, Zen, you can ask ChatGPT. Make sure you ask it like 2 different ways on new histories, and maybe use Perplexity or Grok also, because you might get the slightly different answers on those things.
Yeah, I would actually say go the old-fashioned way and read. Like, just straight up. Like,
just go to Investopedia.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, I hate to use this word, but a lot of trying to, not to rewrite history. That's the wrong way of putting it. But it's just that the best way right now, and I think if anybody watched.
Well, this isn't the time to get deep into AI. We're just talking about the
no, I know,
economy.
But I think what's really important to understand is that you do need to read and really start to try to understand what's going on, so that when somebody starts to talk, because what we're watching right now is just the wrong people who act like experts aren't experts. And so understanding, like, look, it's not so black and white, and it's definitely more complicated than what it is. And also, more important, like, I can read I would say I am an expert at chart reading. Like,
I would say that too.
I can legitimately say that, right? But I'm not going to assume that I'm an expert. I have opinions on other things. And so the way the dollar, and I typically, my opinions work out pretty well, as everybody knows here, right? Like, all right, the US dollar is going to go down here because these are the economic factors that are going to happen. Or we should see crude oil drop to here or rise up to here because of buyers coming in. And I'd expect, bad news to come out or good news to come out in relationship to what I'm seeing money come in. The large factor of economic news can change, and we've seen this now multiple times here on the show, but it's hard to really sit there and nail down like a real, because I'm not an economist. I'm just not. And I don't know the.
Well, neither is Jerome, and he speaks in a few minutes.
Oh yeah, you actually just nailed it. He's night and day better at communicating than a lot of the other.
Right, but today is a different kind of day. It's not an interest rate talk. It's the annual anniversary of the Fed, and they have a meeting and talk about it, and he gives remarks. And there, as they say, there's no news is supposed to come out of that, but you never know. A slip of a word, slip of a comma, slip of something like that, and the traders might tank the market. They might pump the market. Never know. You got to watch out. It should be an interesting hour or so. I don't know when exactly he's supposed to speak.
You know what? You actually said something I thought was really interesting. He's really smart. He's really smart on how to manage that. Like, he's really good on communicating, talking, and how to manage people emotionally on the market. He's so good at it that I sit there and I have to admit, like, it was actually really smart for them to go ahead and to place somebody who was better at talking than necessarily at economics. He can always read talking points, and he can really like understand the talking points really well as well, but he's not an economist. And how you phrase something is more important than the words in itself, right? The connotation and and since I think he's liberal arts, right? Is his degree? He was like,
you know what? I know it, but I can't remember what it was.
I want to say it was liberal arts. Forgive me, guys. If you guys want to go look it up, you guys can. But he just knows how to communicate really well. And in doing that, he is able to quail storms in such a efficient manner. Like, and he understands how to really communicate with Trump. Like that, just his interaction with Trump, he doesn't feed off the energy. If there's negative energy, he knows how to just like, like kung fu it, not kung fu, but what do you call it? Taekwondo, not taekwondo. I forget what it's called. Not jujitsu. He's able to deflect it in a very efficient way and almost diffuse the negative energy between him and Trump, and also him and Besant, how they communicate. It's so dope because they're really good at really being able to. He's really good at just being able to manage people. He's really good.
Well, you can tell me. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
And I'll make this last little point. He's so good at it that, like, I feel like this needs to be more of. You need to have more head of the Fed like this versus economists in a sense, right? Like, you have your guys who are underneath you who understand the details of the economy, and you can go through and make adjustments there. Right, but in the same sense, you can also be able to deflect. So, deflect as a leader, and the ability to be able to communicate with the global side of the economy, and I think he does a great job. I really do.
Well, one of the things you can notice from the time that Jerome has been with the Fed, or in the top job at the Fed, is that they changed the area where they give their speeches from, like, with the old place seemed like it was the cafeteria or an ante room or something like that. It wasn't, it was like, because for ages the Fed didn't give speeches. They just released the numbers, and that it was, and it may come at a certain time. It may come at another time you didn't know, and the market would be like, and to bring some I don't know, clarity or levity to it, they said, all right, we're going to start doing it at a certain time. And we're going to have a speech, release the number, and then we'll give our reasoning for it after that. And now they have this big, beautiful press room with these massive lights and pool cameras there, and the whole, and it's a proper joint. And I didn't really notice it until one of the reporters was doing a live spot from it after it, and you could see the setup of the whole room. And I saw that, and I remember it because I was like, that's the studio I want for DYOR.
One day.
You're right. Well, I was like that, and it was really nice. And I was like, wait a minute, this is different. And the last thing I remember was them kind of being in just a crappy old room. And I was like, what you just said made sense. Is that Jerome brought the communication level up from the Fed to the public in more ways than one, via voice, via the information they release, and just via their professional TV productions for their speeches now. So it was a big change.
And I think there was a need for that, because one of the biggest issues that we kept seeing is, like you said, when the Fed would speak, or when there was so much turmoil, especially in 2008, 2009, with Paulson, and even Greenspan was just, dude, you talk about a guy who was knuckleheadish, right? Like some of the stuff he would say, you're like, bro, you're literally, the market's falling apart over here because some of the stuff you're saying. So bringing in somebody who knew actually how to communicate and understood the value of words and the influence that you can actually have with people, it's smart. It's very, very intelligent move on their end. Now, is it good on the world's end? I don't know, because it makes it more influential, and I don't like the Fed, so. But that's on another day, another time.
Yeah, in fact, when we first started talking about him earlier, Zen, who's on here, who, if you recall, found us during our morning shows,
Yep.
found us and said, or is it about bonds? I want to hear about the Fed buying more bonds, and we ended up talking about the big beautiful bill adding $3.5 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years, and Fed printing money, devaluation, yada yada. And then you were hearing just the tail end of that when you came on. But anyway, I had started off, Pedro, going over Bitcoin from a top-down thing on we'll call it a basic level, but started with the weekly and talked about the trends. And not only that, but this is what I wanted to show you. Let me bring it up here. Let's see, where is it? A while ago, I have the, let me put the chart screen back on. All right. This is the weekly chart here. And if you recall, if you can see my screen, back, hold on, let me switch me so I'm bigger, so I can point here easier. Right here, Pedro, when the market was, the weekly thing was coming down like this, I was talking about the Twitterverse was like, we going down, we're going to 40,000, this type of stuff. And in fact, you pointed out the levels in which, if it does go down, which it can go down, you listed them as you do. And then you were talking about, however, there's one level right here, which I don't have drawn in, but it's right there, in which if it doesn't trade through that, we could go up. And you were off, or
It was off a lot.
I don't remember where you were that day, if you had just come on late like today or whatever. But I took the time to go and say and tell people that it was likely that I felt, in my humble opinion, after doing this with you a lot, that it was going to do this. Because you always tell me it's going to go down before it goes up. I am just not fast with these charts. And so the only thing I got wrong was just the timing. I thought it was going to take a few more weeks, and it turned around and came back up quicker. And only reason I remember this, and I'm bragging about it, because when I pulled this weekly chart up, I remember I hadn't looked at the weekly chart in a while. To be honest, I don't look at it that much because I haven't been in a trading period for a while now. That I kind of felt that I needed to look at the weekly. I kind of start with the daily. But my old mark was still on it doing this. And I was like, why is that mark there? And I was like, I called it! I got one right. And obviously it was, listening to what you've been telling me all this time here. But I was so happy. I was like, it did exactly what Pedro said it would do, and I called that it was going to do blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was one of the situations. You say it could do this, could do that, could do that, could do that. And it held this, right over here, or whatever you want to call it, that little area that I believe you had a line drawn in somewhere in there. And it didn't trade through it. It held it, and then boop, and went up. And so
74,000 area, we had marked it. I think I remember you saying, like, yeah, it should go down. Or I remember saying it should go down. And you said it was going to go, I think they're going to go up here. And I go, there's too much volume coming in on the sell-off. I can't see it going down. And you were right on, absolutely right on. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
I was so happy when I saw the things on the charts. I was like, "Woo! Victory is mine!" Obviously, I didn't take advantage of it, but just the fact that all this information is starting to gel, Pedro, is the important part of that. But then I just walked right down through the time periods and said what I felt what was going on with the market in each time period. Obviously, not the detail level you do. And mentioned that I up until right before you came on here, I had a little long on that hit my number. I ended up making 14 whole dollars.
Hey, bro, money's money.
Money's money, right?
Money.
Admittingly, it was also the demo account because I was trading outside of the hours, which I allowed myself to. Just trying other things, but still the trade worked out as planned. So.
I love it, man. That's freaking awesome. I love it. I think also on the back end, there's something that there's that cool feeling of when you're actually starting to kind of get it, and you're like, man, I see a light here, and it's just not a waste of my time. And then, you go back to learning, but there's like, you have these moments where like, I remember that feeling of like, I just keep losing. You say you keep losing, you're losing. And you're like, is this ever going to stop?
And then
right? Like it does. But also that's why I'm a huge proponent on getting coaches. That's why I always plug Chris, right? Because it's like, Chris is the guy who taught me. He's my mentor, and he has stopped trading. Oh, excuse me. He has kept trading, but he has stopped taking on students because he has some dudes that were just totally douchey. He was just like, I don't need to deal with this. So he kind of just has kept his students, like me and like a handful of other people, about 15 people there. But he's over the years, probably last 7 years, probably taught individually maybe 100 traders, which is like really small. Like if you think about it, that's like 20 people, and that's about 5 students a quarter, and he trains you over a period of 3 months. And so he teaches you individually, like individually, this is what I do, boom, and it's just you and him. And he's more like a drill sergeant where he just is ripping on you, and it's a lot of work. It's like a high level college course,
that's how you learn.
Yeah. And he's like, now get to work. And he yells at you when you don't follow your rules, and he really yells at you when you keep not following your rules. And then
perhaps you have some experience in that category.
Yeah. And because here's the thing, like you set up rules, and then you're like, oh, this is different. This is a circumstance that's different. And you realize it's not.
And then you lose the trade, and he's like, I told you so.
Yeah, and I really like him. I've learned a lot from him. So if you are interested, his name is Chris Koopman on or Easy Money 2050, and he's on Twitter or X, excuse me. You can find him there. He's also on Blue Skies as well. I think under the same name or moniker. On
speaking of, welcome X viewers. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Hey guys.
Welcome to everyone from Rumble too. We've had a good crowd there all day today.
I've been noticing. Wow, we got 7 and 8 people. You guys over on Rumble, man. I really appreciate every one of you guys as well. We're trying to build you guys up over there. We got some cool stuff that's going to be coming out here in the market. Some new products here on the DYOR network. And we're hoping to get a sponsorship here real soon. That will be making some cash for us, but also more important, making cash for you guys and helping you guys out there. So one being the app, and the other potentially being stuff for people outside the United States. So yeah, it'll be cool.
Pedro, did you see this headline here? Mike Saylor strategy makes smallest Bitcoin purchase. It says in the past 10 weeks, it's probably ever. Only bought 75 million in Bitcoin.
When was that? Today?
Over the weekend, I believe.
Oh, okay, perfect.
They literally sold 74 million worth of preferred stock and immediately bought Bitcoin with it. It's amazing. For those of you who didn't see us last week, on Friday we did a drill down into strategy and how they're going about it and the things that could go wrong with it, things that could go right, and also things that could go wrong. It's an interesting show. If you haven't watched it, it's in our history. Go back and in fact, in the video, I cut out the video itself, which we talked about. It made it its own video. You can go find it. It's on our YouTube page. It's the lead video. Go ahead and watch it. But their stock price fell when people learned that. Thought that to be interesting. What was the other article that was related to that I had open? Oh yeah, this guy, Arthur Hayes, who's always been a quagmire to me. He's famously the founder of BitMEX, and has been a big player. Got into Bitcoin very early on, made a ton of money, and then owned an exchange, made a ton of money, had some legal troubles, got out of them. Got out of him using his ton of money. But it's talking about the money printing and the US dollar, or bills going through Congress, causing us to need to print money, which will devalue the currency and hopefully push Bitcoin up to 250K this year, he says. Not something that's, I would say, is unreasonable. Could happen very easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think I personally think this bull run we're going to see a 250, 300,000 Bitcoin, and I think from a charting standpoint, we're kind of setting up for it, and it's kind of cool to sit there and see what's actually happening. I really think it's awesome. I mean, the fact is that, like, it's trading just like the institutions wanted to trade. And so, like, why wouldn't they? Remember the couple days ago when I talked about, like, so there's two ways for a institution to make money, right? One is the trading aspect, and then the other one is actual making deals, right? Like, they make deals and they set up ways and products where they make money on transactions based off of it. So you can always guarantee on the transactions. And so right now, I feel like they're trying to establish, and again, this also has to do with what Michael Saylor was talking about. That small clip that she made over the weekend, which I thought was pretty epic, of us talking about Michael Saylor. If you guys haven't, it's actually starting to go a little bit viral. So if you guys haven't seen it, if you do see it, hit the like button and share it. That would help a lot, immensely. How many did it get? I forget the view.
It's up to 31 now.
Dude, it's popping, bro. Like,
it just incremented to 32.
That's what I'm saying. I love it. It's starting to go viral, bro. Like I said, I'm starting to speak things. Right?
At any moment, it's going to hit 1,000 and then probably 10,000.
No, bro. I was thinking more of 100,000.
100,000? I think so. I think Michael Saylor will see it and then include it in a blast.
That's exactly
millions of followers. I'm sure that's going to happen.
We're that lucky. That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly right.
I mean,
we positive. Yeah.
We keep speaking, and one day they'll be like, "They were right." Like Mr. Bitcoin like Mr. Beast when he was all, and then this is when we hit 1 million, and this is when we hit 1 billion views, and this will all happen, and then we'll all be rich and be able to enjoy our lives, like filthy rich.
And then it happened.
Exactly. So it's just, hey, we just keep doing it, and then we're gonna have a few of these guys post our stuff on a few other websites, and then those websites are going to blow up because literally our stuff got posted on it. That's just, and then we become just like Oprah. We become basically the there we go. We just make influencers. We don't have to become that. We make influencers.
Oprah, Uma. If you know what that one is, then you are old like me.
You get a card. You get a card.
That's I was doing the line from Dave Letterman when he was hosting the Academy Awards, and both Oprah and Uma Thurman were in the front row, and so he's doing Oprah, Uma. It was very funny.
I like it. All right, so let's check out Bitcoin, and we'll talk about a little bit here what I expect for this week already. So it was really nice that we saw Sunday kind of go up. We hit the SMA 8. We had the crossover of the 8 and 20 here, and so it's coming down, which is what I wanted to do, right? We wanted to come down in the beginning of the month, create the supply wick, the demand wick for the weekly and the monthly charts. And so I've got a couple areas here. We've got this weekly 8 sitting right here, and you can sit there and see. Oh, here we go now. Got some 20 minutes on. Forgive me, guys. I've been so busy that I have not been able to get any of my infrared light in. And so I got to regenerate and recharge my mitochondria. And you guys are like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like ultimately, I had to get some of it in because I got a skedaddle later. So is this like opera?
Welcome Crypto Mike to the show. Thanks for joining us. Crypto Mike.
Yes. Awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. So I don't know why I'm doing that, but let me talk about these small little areas that I want to see the market come into. So over the week, we saw it put in that little supply wick here. So we saw it kind of go up. And my hope is that we're going to see it either, and it kind of came down already into a weekly area, but I think we're going to see it come down to that 101 and potentially down into that 100. If it continues down, I could assume for the month is that 91 area is what we talked about, and also that monthly 8, which is sitting around this 95. So that 95, 91 area to come down to for that month. And so I would expect something to look like this. So say a little ping pong where we see it come down and tap a row, which is going to tap that 100 area, 1,000, and then see it kind of bounce back up and then come back down maybe for the second week, where we see it kind of come down here. This could happen the first or second week. And then from there, see it come back up and bounce all the way up again. Is potentially is what I'm expecting. What happened to my volume? I don't know why my volume's not on.
Your volume? Oh,
Yeah,
for your charts, not the show.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Boom. Trading, execution, alerts. Did they take that away now from the basic users?
Your volume button is checked there. Maybe you just have it squished so you can't see it.
Maybe that's what it is. Boom. No, man, I think they might have just taken it away.
If they had taken it away, the checkbox would be gone too and not allow you to check it.
Right, that's what I just don't understand. Like maybe
that happens. Obviously you've been years on the charts here, and at the beginning of the show I was talking about how we'd have to fill in the charts with pencil, and draw the charts as the day went on, and I'm still not very skilled at using TradingView. In fact, I should sit down and watch the 93,000 videos that they have for all of their features and options and stuff. Because I do things like that all the time. I'm like, where'd it go?
Right, it could be just me. Template.
See if let's bring up my screen while we're doing this.
Yeah. Description. Yeah, go ahead, man. I'm trying to understand why it's not pulling up.
Our office space is being removed. No, I was looking to see if any news came out about Senor Powell.
Senor Powell. But ultimately, seeing it kind of either ping pong between these little areas is really what I'm looking for. And so something to be paying attention to is really what I'm looking at. I like this area right here, the 100. I just think like that 100 would come back down and tap that area here. You have liquidity here, you have the weekly 8 right here, and then you also have that monthly 8 sitting down here on that 95. So this area between that 100 and 95, 93 area is just a clean area for it to pull back to.
Zen, do tell what you're scalping. Bitcoin? It's something else? Are you degenning, or is this a proper major token?
Is she? Oh, she's on. I see her. Here we go. Wait, maybe not. Where is she on? Is she on X?
YouTube.
I don't see her. Why am I not seeing her? Oh, that would probably be the reason why.
Gotta scroll.
Nope. I am on the wrong one.
You're watching. Are you watching the feed from last week's show?
I am. That's one of the ones I was like looking at. There you are, Zen. Good to see you. I like Reagan. Miss Reagan Zen. 5 15-minute points, 5 to 15 points at a time. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that's a good strategy. But when it hits these, remember when you're trading these smaller those small levels, when you line up with a higher time frame, that's when you want to consider letting it run, right? And then if it pulls back, right, take profit. But understand that if you're playing those small scalp ones, you could potentially, if you're lining up with your weekly, your monthly, that small area of you learning how to scalp at, of like maybe going long to capture a small couple dollars, right? Like you said, like the 5 and 15 points. This could be areas that you could just let things run. So try to whatever trading style that you use. By the way, happy Monday to you also, Rod. So incorporating, try to take your style that you use and try to use it on other time frames, larger time frames. And so when you line up your strategy with other higher time frame with a higher time frame strategy that you can kind of stack, you can really sit there and go, okay, this works for me here, this works for me here, and see if it works, that same strategy, on higher time frames. And then you can basically partition it on your entry time frames, and then see if you can elongate that trade for, let's say, an hour, 2 hours, a day, 2 days, 5 days, right? All of a sudden you're in that same trade for a week or two. And it's, you've made a ton of money, and at the same time you can still take other positions, right? With doing that. Litecoin up. Let's check out Litecoin here real quick. I actually was looking at a few coins here. Let's check out Litecoin here real quick. That's weird. What just happened?
I believe the great graphics machine has this one pre-programmed in it. Let's see if it comes up. $88.11 for Litecoin.
And what Litecoin we looking at here real quick? Litecoin.
It's LTC USDT. No, yeah, you got it. LTC USD or USDT, whatever.
Yeah, it's been playing off our areas here. Boom. It's up a little. from the lows here that we were playing on. Never really came back down to our 55 area here, but it did get down to that 63. I wish I could find out what's going on with my volume. I don't know why that. Lord, what is going on?
Zen, if if you've been journaling your trades and you have a winning record, and I'm not talking about money, but your trades are in the positive, more than 50% wins, and you generally trade similar things, so the money kind of works out for each one, not home runs and 500x margins and shit like that. Then, going to a prop firm and showing them your trades and getting them to stake you for a little bit of cash money, see what you can do, is a good experiment to see if your skills are up to it. But spend that time on the demo account first, practicing, and get those numbers of trades up. I don't mean make crazy trades. I just mean spend time working your models, so you can show them real data and show them what you know.
Also, and this is where I don't. Again, I don't mean to be contrarian here. I don't like prop firms. I think you should risk your own money. I think you should, I like how Tom does it, where he trades off of our sponsor, and he trades a small amount, a very small amount, and he risks, $10, $5, right? And in that process, he actually learns because he feels the pain of losing money. So he's able to make good decisions based off a small amount of money. Regardless of it, you still feel the same amount of pain losing $5 versus $100, right?
It just pisses me off. You see that red in the P&L thing, and you're like, especially when you sell it at it's a $6 win, but then with fees, and then because you hit market order, you get a worse order, and then it's also negative, and you're like, motherfucker, $6. Beep, 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 beep.
It's interesting because I think, people think you need to risk some money, you need to, because you need to go through the emotional.
Even on a demo account, it's emotional for me. I mean, it's crazy. I know it's fake, and I'm like,
yeah, but there's still, I think there's more to it than that. Why isn't this?
Oh, obviously. But Zenzen, don't forget, I don't, obviously, Pedro and I don't know, your trading style. But if you're good at one thing, and your setup for that is good, and you can see it coming, and you're consistent with it, yeah, by all means, trade the real money. But if you're going to try something new, say, you know what, I'm going to try to trade different hours of the day. I'm going to try to trade a different contract, or a different setup. Instead of moving average, I'm going to do phases of the moon. Start working on that on demo, and get your consistency up first, and then switch over to real money. You can do both at the same time. It's just a good way to practice something new before you give all your money to people like Pedro. I'm way past that level. Yes, I get that. I'm just pointing out, when you try, mostly for, we're an educational channel for everybody. When you try something new, practice it on demo accounts.
That is smart. Risking your own money the whole entire time it's the quickest way to learn. It really, even though it hurts. But I say a small amount. This is why I like crypto, because crypto allows you to be able to risk a small amount, right? And then you're able to really kind of get the feel of the rush, the feel of the dopamine hit, right? So that's really the best way. Yes, gold idea. Yes, good idea. Paper trade. Yes, paper trade is cool. She might be behind.
No. That was just me talking. Hey, I'm gonna let you take over for a second here, and I'm gonna go refill the tea and visit the ladies' room.
Later. All right.
Had you fooled there all these years, didn't I?
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. Hey, that means you can actually give birth. I don't even know why I said. All right, guys, as Tom goes to the bathroom and handles business, let's check out. So we checked out Litecoin. Actually, let's do a little bit more to it. We've got that 8 and 20 period kind of trending here. So I'm actually bearish that we might even go down further. You can see here on the weekly and monthly. Let's try this here because I need my volume. I don't know why it's not working. Let's allow it. Okay, nice. All right. This is what I was waiting for. I just don't understand why it's not being cool like that. Okay, 1 second here. Let's go ahead and change this up here real quick, guys. Give me 1 moment and we'll jump right into it. Volume, style. Let's do no. Line breaks, no. Step line, columns, there we go. Columns, here we are. Excellent. For whatever reason, it just wasn't working, and I just don't understand that. All right, so you guys can see here, like, I'm looking at, actually, let's look here real quick at Litecoin. So we had a big sell-off, but we broke through these moving averages with an okay amount of volume last month. And we had the big sell-off here, but and a decent amount of volume here coming in. So let's go ahead. Let's see here, Telegram, and yeah, that's interesting. Boom. Okay. Boom, boom. By the way, shout out to our guys over at X. Thank you guys for coming in and showing off. We've got 16 views. Whoop, whoop. What's up? It's growing. All right. So, yeah, so we're hitting this area. We're kind of consolidating here, which is good. You can see here at this lower level, they definitely did put in some decent amount of buyers. Look. Boom. Pushed up, came down. So they've got a little position here. They can definitely are setting up a position. Definitely right here. Look at this whole entire, you can see this is a good amount of volume that they're just trying to keep it at this low level. And then recently they just busted out, pulled back, pulling back here. You can see there. So they came. So the reason I'm saying this is they created this position, which is pretty dope right up in here. Right, you can see a lot of that buying, even though it's a die-off. We didn't go any lower. We put in higher low here, down at a level here, and now we're seeing it go up. We came and hit the supply. Now it's pulling back, but we're putting in a higher low on Litecoin right here. So that Litecoin, as I'm looking at this, you can see that decent amount of volume kind of coming like we saw right here, right? It's a similar situation. We consolidated right here. Right, and then we saw it kind of come up similar to this, right? Boom, which would have been right here, consolidate, and then this is the second period right here. This correlating to that, which is what you're seeing, and then you're seeing this little pump up right here. Actually, let me make this a little bit cleaner. So, pump, 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 pump. Pumpage right here, pumpage. Okay, it's a little bit different, but it's still a similar situation. They're putting in positions, right? And now this area right here is that this pullback into these lower levels to pick up some volume or to pick up the last positions. Like I said, I think we're setting up for an altcoin season here, right? And the way this is looking. And so you can see here, they picked up more volume here. Is for me as what I'm looking at. Again, this is not financial advice and social and educational purposes only. But you can see here they're coming back down, buying in where they created a position. And now I think they're looking to take it back up. And since they've already taken out this liquidity here, it should blow through this liquidity and come and tap here over the next 4 or 5 months, 6 months, up into these higher levels of like that 278, 280 area. But the reality is you really don't have much supply here per se. That could be, but it's just got to get through these last little SMAs here. Good morning. What's up, Draco? Good to have you. What's up, Roland? Good to have you guys. Accumulation time. Exactly. Accumulation time. Another great Monday. Awesome. Hey guys, shout out. Say what's up to Miss Reagan over here. Mrs. Reagan, the other Reagan, besides Flotus. Who knows? She might be Flotus, and we just don't know. Hey, previous Flotus. If you guys don't know, that's First Lady of the United States of America, i.e. the president's wife. So say what's up. Don't forget to enter the drawing contest. There you go. Bye, bye, bye.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Zen's name is Regen, kind of like Degen. Degen, Regen, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zen. Not like President Reagan, but more like Degen. I think. Could be wrong. Could be wrong.
Look at that now. Yep.
Welcome, Jesus, coming to us from the great city of... No, it's not the great city anymore, but the city of San Francisco.
Man, there we go. Accumulate. I am so sorry, Miss Regan. That was my bad.
Zen regenerate, opposite of degen. I get it.
Got it. Totally understand. Regenerate versus degen. I like it a lot. I like it like that. Okay. So they're basically accumulating here, and then so I'm expecting a push up here. We've already taken a lot of that liquidity, those sellers here. So I expect it to, we might have a pullback here a little, something kind of looks like this, right? Boom. But I'm not expecting it to come back down. It may put another higher low in, and then we'll see it go up. So that'll be a nice little play coming here soon. I also was looking at, that was the other thing I wanted to look at. WorldCoin.
WorldCoin.
Yeah. So WorldCoin. Look, I'm all about that. Let's make some money. The fact here that these guys closed green here for the month, and we're seeing it go down here. It's at a really low level, right? And so I can't see Sam not messing with this. He's still part of this organization. He's still setting up. I'm not saying buy the coin, but I know if I want to take part in something, right? There's the futures side where you don't necessarily have to buy the coin to support it. You just kind of, you can play an actual, the backside of it. And you see the amount of volume coming in on this. Look at this volume. Okay. And so I'm looking at this at a lower level, and I'm like, yeah, this is set up. So the fact that it's coming down first is another reason why I expect it might to go up. And so that first level that I would be looking to kind of take profit here is at that 279 area right here. You can see that I just put the pointing, so the 279 area.
What time period is that chart, Pedro?
That is a monthly chart. It's a monthly chart here.
Looks like every other meme coin chart.
Yeah, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is on the weekly level here. We just saw the crossover of the 8 and 20, which is a bullish sign, and
the volume's up.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. The volume's up. It's above average. You can see the yellow line here. Let me make that a little bit brighter for you guys. Settings.
While Pedro's doing that, thank you everybody on Rumble. Please give us a like, comment, share with your friends. Drop it in a trading group. Got any questions? Let us know. Remember, you don't need to have a Rumble account that's paid. You can sign up for Rumble just by signing in with Google or Facebook or something like that, and that allows you to press that like button and comment here and ask questions.
Yes. Let me see if I can make this brighter.
After all, it is
There we are.
Monday market update, giving you updates in the market, but it also means that you guys can ask questions about the market, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Yes. Also, we need to go over potential news. Did you go over the news as well? And what we're looking at the market for the week?
I was just going over the things, the simple things like the sale or buying and devaluation of the currency, and hopefully Bitcoin reaching new highs because of things like that, and a couple other articles along those lines. But nothing of the ones that you sent me. And I think most of them we should just hold off until tomorrow because none of them are date specific.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, so let's check this out here. I really like just the way that they're setting this up here on just a weekly level. They're coming down here first, and you can actually take this up. It seems like a smart play to play. If you're looking potentially, again, I'm not telling you what to do, but something that I'm looking to do is play this on a futures contract, make sure there's a lot of liquidity, whatever. Like, I'm looking at a futures contract, I want to make sure there's a lot of liquidity in that exchange. And then additionally to that, I'm definitely looking to see how much volume is in that specific product, i.e. Bitcoin, i.e. Ethereum, i.e. WorldCoin, right? Are people buying it on that exchange? So one of the ways that I look to find that is, right, you can sit there and go USD perp, right? And you can see here and go, okay, BitGet or BitGet. I always mess all these up. Because,
no kidding.
Right. And so you can maybe potentially capture part of this by the volume here. You can see here how much volume are they trading. So let's check it out here on a daily basis. Boom. Yeah, there's quite a bit you can sit there and see, right? Look at all that volume coming off of this. And so let's check out the 5-minute then. So you can then play the 5-minute going, okay, how much volume can I get in and get out? The reason why that's important, and so the way you try to see when you're looking at volume is they call it the river, okay? You know that thing on the side that we all look at, right? And I'm going to bring this up here real quick. Sorry, I don't even know why I was doing that. It just popped in my head. Sorry.
Jesus is ready to run outside and get in one of the rice burners he's got out there and start.
I do my willy boom boom.
Maybe in his 6'4" Impala. I listened to a little Eazy-E the other day. Mrs. Striking actually called it up in the car.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think did I tell you this, Pedro? There was a fire in our building?
There was.
I guess I didn't tell you this. Our building has a lot of fire alarms here in Canada. And this is just a quick side story while you come up with the news here. But on Saturday morning, the fire alarm went off. 20-story building, big commercial on the first floor, stores and all that type of shit, and then residences above it. And we're like, another false alarm. And it's Saturday, and so the building superintendent isn't in. So Mrs. Striking stays up here. I'm like, I'm going to go downstairs just to make sure. And I go downstairs and I look at the fire alarm, the panel, and it says sprinklers activated. It doesn't say some other like smoke and some whatever somebody's kitchen. It says sprinklers activated, water flow positive, meaning that the sprinklers are going somewhere in the building. I'm like, that's not good. That's not good. And then the fire department gets these codes. Normally the fire department shows up and they are just walking in. Hey, how you guys doing? Another false alarm. This time they come running in and they've got the axes and the hoses and everything. And I'm like, oh fuck. And so I'm like on the phone with, calling upstairs. I'm like, get the dog, get your ass down here. And and on one of the commercial floors, the heavy duty 600 volt to 208 3-phase step down transformers exploded. feeds the building. And caught fire, set the sprinklers off, the whole thing. Power's out in the building now. And so we had to abandon ship. We actually left on Saturday because there's no power and no water in the building because there's no power after a certain many of hours. And went to Toronto and stayed with her parents. And they said, we don't know when your power will get back on. Thankfully, our building's divided in half. And our half of the building is habitable. The other half of the building, like the neighbors, got extension cords coming down to the hallways and stairs because they don't have power. So we abandoned ship. Had an actual fire. Crazy. It's the second building I've lived in. The building I live in Chicago, Mrs. Striking and I have an apartment in, that had a fire in it, like in the basement electrical room, 2 years ago. Like 3 years ago, fire trucks, everything, smoke in my apartment, smoke in the apartment. Anyway, that was fire. All right,
bud. Hey, buddy, you need to catch that. You.
I got a 76 Maverick. My mom and dad had a 70. They didn't have a 76 Maverick. I think they had a 74 Vega. And then they traded that in because the Vega was such a piece of crap. That then they got, they may have had a 76 Maverick. No, because we moved. It must have been a 70. Maybe my mom and dad's Vega was a 72. No, I can't remember. And also, it's a Prius with two 12-inch subs. It's one of those cars that the amplifier has more power output than the motor.
Hey, quick question for you. So can you pull up your chart real quick?
Yeah.
Because I'm not in a position to pull my stuff up, your account, and I want to.
I've got the screen now.
Okay, perfect. So when you go in, if you pull that up, you should see on the either right or left side that shows your where you have the buyers and sellers coming in, and you see them, right? It's like you have the higher buyers up here, and it's almost like the dome.
Let me turn our cams off here so we can see it.
Yeah, this is right, and I want you to get.
I don't know why the camera didn't go off. Oh, your other one is there. Yeah, the way I have mine set up, I can't just move it. It's capturing the tab.
All right.
Hold on a sec. Let me do this. Pedro screen feed. Oh, Pedro cam. Hold on. Let me turn your other guy off here. Picture. Audio visual. All right, now let's go back to charts. Turn Pedro off. Hold on, this should work. There. All right, now we can see it.
All right, guys. So what I want to point out here is if you look at the point where you see there, oh, it switched back to
all right.
Sorry. If you look at the right side of this,
starting to run slow. There we go.
You'll see that where it says 104,242. Right there, you can see there is like a pyramid of orders, right? See where the red, yeah, you see how that kind of goes down? Yeah, exactly. What you want to see at price is you want to see a lot of volume coming in and out of that you could get in and get out. If you're not seeing a lot of volume, or you can go back and you can look at those wallets. Are those MEV wallets? Are those wallets by? Are
they exchange market makers? Are they actual real orders from retail or institutional clients? And I'm guessing a lot of this is market maker books.
And it could be, but you just want to make sure that if you are, for example, if I'm trading Litecoin on a perp, right? And that itself is literally setting up in a way I want to be able to get in and get out of that trade. So let's say I start to get a really good trade.
Yeah,
And
let me switch it back to Litecoin here.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
Tom has experienced this where he'll get in at a really good price point, and then the market will do really well, and it'll start to come back against him, and it will meet his rules to get out of that trade because it's pulled back to a certain point, and he's like, I don't want to lose this money past this point, so he'll want to get out. And when that happens, because there isn't a real amount of volume, right? It's either exchange volume where they're just buying and selling, trying to cause volume. And so whenever there's real volume, they then will, instead of meet that need, they'll buy you up because these aren't real buyers or real sellers. They'll take you out and you only walk out with, instead of, let's say, 50% of the trade, you'll walk out with 25 or 10% of the trade because it's not real. So that's why you really want to make sure that you're paying attention. And this is why you always see me looking at the real chart, right? Like that, I want to see the USD chart or whatever chart that you're playing off of, whether it's the euro or wherever you are in the world. You just want to make sure there's real volume, because if it's not, then you're going to get hurt, and that's where I don't want you to. So that's really important to sit there and say. And you can honestly take small trades at first, right? With those trades. So like Zenzen, right? Like you can sit there and take those trades. And while you're moving your money in and out of exchanges, you can sit there and say, all right, let me make sure. And you probably know this. A lot of you guys already probably know this. But I just want to reiterate that because I feel like it's not talked about enough. And so you get into a trade. And listen, we're all happy to make money. But as institutions really start to get involved, one thing we'll see is a meeting of real volumes coming in. And so they're going to start coming in. And either crypto markets, crypto exchanges are going to have to get in line, or they'll just, institutions will just create their own system as the laws and basically just push out. Instead of adopting the current system, they'll just create their own. I mean, and that's kind of like what we're seeing with banks and stable coins, whereas they're just basically saying, we're going to create our own, and then we're going to just kind of play with each other. And that's why I was all about Fireblocks and what they're doing, because they're really working in conjunction with the a lot of the banks. They're like, look, we've got a system. We want to make sure that we have the equivalent side for each volume. They're more about volume, and I think they're playing a fair system there. So and I think that's a lot of these crypto exchanges are going to have to start to really play by the rules, or they're going to get hurt. And institutions hurt each other, and they like each other. Their kids go and hang out in summer camp and chill. So it's a really important thing to understand that they won't care nothing about institutional traders, institutional traders.
Them.
For crypto traders, they'll be like, all right, well, we're going to take your liquidity, trade against the actual house, and let the winners or the novices win for a while until they bankrupt that system, and then from there switch over and really just create their own system. Like one of the things we'll see, and we saw this in Robinhood, we saw this with a lot of other things, that most people are accustomed to free from fees for trading, especially in Robinhood, and that's become kind of a really low fee system for trading. And right now in cryptos, we're seeing very high fees, and so the institutions can weather the storm with these high fees and by just lowering their fees. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we actually see in advance. I'm using the word "see" a lot. I don't know why, but yeah. And but I'm looking for kind of a trade off of that WorldCoin there, because it's just the amount of volume come in and the system in which it's being played is just kind of open. I mean, just look at Bitcoin right now. There's somebody that's playing. You can see all over the last few days a lot of this volume come in, but then when you look at WorldCoin.
Hey, Seuss, this was the car here that my mom had, the red with the simulated wood grain. And while Pedro's calling it up, it was such a lousy car that I got good. My mom had to carry a long flathead screwdriver with it, and when she would go to hit the starter, I'd have to bridge the terminals on the solenoid to get it to work.
That's awesome. That is freaking awesome, dude.
That's the first time I heard my mom curse when the car. She was a real estate agent, and so she'd have to. Oh, I'm sorry. The muffler went out in the car at like age 1 year old. The car, and the warranty was for a year. And like 2 weeks after 1 year, I'm riding with my mom, and all of a sudden the muffler goes. And she starts launching the F-bombs, and I was like, "Ooh, mom, dang!" I was like 8 at the time or something. Really, Zenzen, you use Robinhood. Are you using their new Legend trading platform? And if you are, how is it? I have had like many people have had a Robinhood account forever, but I've ignored it. And I see all this stuff in the news coming out about their new Legend trading platform. And I was trying to find somebody that let me know if it's good or not. And if the fees are good or not.
Man, look at this. This is like, it's looking nice. Like, in comparative to where they had all this huge amount of volume. But, I mean, this right here, you can just see it starting to pick up. Boom, boom, boom. I wonder if this is if they're doing something here. I wonder if institutions are really, there's not enough volume to really make a substantial difference here on this perp. But I'm just looking to see, if you just look at the market there, you would see a major increase in volume into perps if they do explode this. So that's what I'm looking for. Is that Bybit? No, here's Bybit. Boom, perpetual. Yeah, Bybit really has the most of the volume coming in. You can see on the perp here, and it looks like they're using this one to really kind of buy in. So if you're looking, I maybe Bybit is really the area that you want to play this, because it looks like there's potentially a lot of volume there. And you can see it's in, like over the past week. You can see we set things up pretty well as they're coming up. So we'll see what happens. But again, it's the beginning of the month, so we could come back down and play off of this lower level right here. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's gonna be right here. There you are. So this potentially could come back down to here. Take out all the liquidity sitting right in there. There's a lot of liquidity sitting right here. Boom. What is this weekly? We'll keep this dotted, make that purple. There's a lot of liquidity sitting right here, so they could bring it down somewhere between here, pop off, come up, come back down, and push up. But yeah, this area, kind of wait for it to kind of pull back. But again, it's kind of setting up for it to go up here on Litecoin.
Well, that's also a news-driven coin. They need one little bit of news regarding that in any way, and that thing starts to move around.
Yeah,
does a little wiggle, jiggle.
A little wiggle. What
was that? That was that British guy doing all the people ended up doing that wiggle dance thing, whatever.
Yeah. That was funny. That was actually really funny. That took off like gangbusters.
Yeah, Zenzen, I noticed that Robinhood requires big margin, but Robinhood is trading. They're trading futures contracts, not perpetuals, which you can get in with $1. They're trading things like they're a fully regulated U.S. exchange.
Mr. Bean, I remember he was hilarious. Shout out, man, Baby Draco, man. Vega, 4 doors. That's what's up.
Oh yeah, Jesus, here is the Maverick that my mom and dad had. They had the Vega and the Maverick, and then my dad had a Chevy. Was it Chevy Nova?
Dog, you guys.
The SS.
Now those are worth so much money.
He had the SS Nova too. It had the bigger engine in it, and he actually went to sell it. And I was driving by, and he's like, "Oh, just thought I'd let you know, there, Tommy, that I'm taking the car to sell it." And I was like, "Ah, it was a really cool car." He ended up buying a Corvette, the 72 or 73 Corvette Stingrays. But he sold it, and I said, "How much are you gonna sell it for?" This isn't early 70s. And he goes, "I'm selling it for $1 million." I was like, "Oh my god, $1 million." That was not true. He sold it. I think he sold it for $3,000, which was a lot back then.
Yeah, in the 70s, what would that be? 3,000, 3, 6, 12, 24,000. Okay, the average.
Yeah, and he had this exact car here, this blue one with the hood racing stripes on it. Let me see if I can get a good picture of that. Mm-hmm. The cars were, all those cars were pieces of craps, but the sound they made, just really crappy mufflers because they weren't good at muffling sounds back then. And all of them, the hotter ones with the bigger engines, and could go pretty fast in a straight line. Don't want to turn. No.
Dude, imagine having a name. What would be the coolest name you could ever have? If you could Flash Gordon. You know what I'm saying? What do you think is just a
Draco? You do the LS swap in yours? Oh, that wouldn't be a 5 liter. That would be the 5.7 liter. Zen Chevy Nova. And we had the SS Nova, and during an ice storm on the side of the car in the paint pinstriped, it said SS, and the ice storm wind caused the ice to form over the SS in an SS form in ice. And my dad knocked it off the car, and we had it in the freezer for 2 or 3 years. It was really cool. I showed my friends. My dad's like, no, don't take it out.
That's awesome. Yo, guys, do us a quick favor. If you guys haven't hit the heart, the thumbs up button, that really does help us out. And also, if you hit that little heart button, that does also help quite a bit. So if you guys are just sitting there chilling by the computer, I would, hit some of those things. Those do help us out quite a bit. Let's also check out a couple more. Do you have any other cool news sources that you could bring up and talk about? Is Tom there? Did we just lose Tom? Hello, Tom. Ground control. No, Major Tom to ground control. Looks like we lost Tom. It's a sad day. Pour one for the homie. I still have the front VW logo for our bus. Oh, that's cool, man. That's really cool. Those bugs, man, couldn't the buses also float as well? Were the buses? There you are. You just disappeared on me, man.
Sorry, I had to take care of something real quick.
It's all right. So weren't the V bugs vans, or the VW vans in the 1960s? Could they float as well?
That's something I don't know. I'm sure somebody made Jesus, that the Morpheus Maverick looks like a Kenny Bell car.
Hey, quick question. Can you look up to see what chain has the most volume right now? I'm curious to know what chain.
What's the what's it? Is it Dune? Dune.com? Is that the?
Oh, you are right. It's Dune.
Crypto Data Hub, Dune.com. That's right. You got to be tricky on how you find things, though. Yeah, just fuck that shit.
Tables. Did they change this up? Search.
Based on recent data, Solana currently leads in transaction volume, according to Grok, among blockchains. Over a 7-day period ending in June 2nd, 2025, Solana processed 449 million transactions, significantly outpacing others like BNB, 96 million, Base, 67 million, Tron, 63 million, and Aptos, 43 million. Its high throughput, low cost, and fast transaction speeds contribute to this dominance. However, Tron is also notable with claims of moving 146 billion USDT in a week. Remember, Tron is the kind of the home of Tether. In a week, and a total of 10.5 billion transactions, blah, 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 blah. Solana appears to have the edge in raw transactions count recently. Tron's stablecoin volume is significant, yada, 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 blah, blah. I don't know if that's individual transactions or if like one, one, I don't even know what the right word is. Every time you click the go button and there's like 6 transactions that, that are part of it. If those all count as individuals or if it's just that each time someone makes the transaction, don't know.
I didn't realize I gotta keep playing. So I didn't know they had a Sims something on this. I don't even know what I'm doing here right now. Home. Trending. I need to really kind of take some time to really understand Dune.
Well, I think they've also switched to more of a pay model too, right?
Have they? I don't know. Ethereum. Somebody told me Ethereum dashboard had actually the most volume actually happening with it.
Ethereum.
Yeah. We were talking about off chain, where we want to start pulling data from, which one we really want to start playing, right? And we were either looking at the BNB chain or looking at the Ethereum chain. I guess Ethereum chain really dropped their pricing dramatically recently. Like it's like gone to the point where it's like $6 is a lot of money now.
Yeah, they did change things up there and did better. Let's see. It's like Bitcoin is getting poised to do something here. It's getting ready to break out of a triangle.
Let's check out BTC here real quick.
A symmetrical triangle, so I can't tell which way it's gonna go.
Well, 13 minutes into the hour.
Been neglecting the sound effects. We're talking about Bitcoin right now. Might as well power up. It's the power hour for Bitcoin. I know that's gay, but whatever.
Excuse me. There are little boys right now that are really offended and upset that you used the term gay.
And they can tune right out. Got to be 18 to watch this show anyway, ladies and gentlemen. We use curse words.
You want to know something super funny? I have a friend of mine who typed some really touching stuff last night. And so as a guy, we all know, like, when a guy gets emotional, you typically call him, like, names. But you mean it all in jest and love and fun. And it's, you know, and if the guy is not super sensitive, it'll be like, shut up, all right, right? And it's not like, you know, but, you know, you also get emotional when a guy really, you know, gets emotional. So you type this out. And I was going to say, literally, like, this is, right? And kind of make fun of him a little. And then I literally had a second guess myself. Man, I do not want to deal with the backlash of potential, all the BS that I'm going to have to deal with. And so I was like, bro, I'm glad, I'm proud of you. Like, awesome. Let's link up. But, like,
next thing you know, you got a Dave Chappelle show going.
Yeah, like, and that was the issue. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't, because I mean, you know, like, as an adult, you got to sit there and look at things like, how is this really going to? I don't think it would affect him. It's just a lot of people on his. I'm offended for him. And he's like, nah, I thought it was funny. I'm like, why are you offended for me? You don't know that you should be offended over this. And he would laugh. But I just don't want to deal with all that, right? Like, so, yeah. But BTC, I'm looking at this right now. We just came down here, and I think we're going to be potentially going up to test the 104,670 up into like the 1 hour 1589 here. We've been trying to, so that's the next real target area here. And so if you're a fair value gap guy, this is going to be the area here that you're looking to play off of. In this area right here, actually.
And Pedro, tell everybody what the fair value gap means.
A fair value gap basically means where there are stops that are sitting in an area that will get triggered. So right above here, this is a zone above a zone, right? And what happens is institutions want to take people's stops because that adds liquidity to their position. So those are going to be areas where price are going to go to. This is where price wants to go to because their liquidity sits. Excuse me. Speaking of sitting, and so one of the things I think it's super important to understand that if you know there's liquidity sitting there, market is going to go to the place that is most open, or where market is going to go to the place where it is the most easiest. It's like water. The market likes to go to where it's most easiest to flow.
Right.
And so that area is going to be up kind of resistance area. And that resistance area is where they're going to get first liquidity, and then they'll go in the opposite direction. So looking at this here right now, BTC, by the way, when is Powell speaking?
Can you move your mic around again? It's.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Is that better?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my bad, my peoples. That is wild. About liquidity, fair value gaps, or no? So one of the things that I do is I will correlate fair value gaps with my higher time frame SMAs. And then this typically adds a form of value, or it adds a form of resistance that I can sit there and quantify. And so I know that there is going to be a lot of buying or selling potentially coming. So I will put this together, and then here, this is a, actually let me delete this here real quick because it's not what I typically use for fair value gaps. Actually, go ahead. Settings, no. All right, maybe that right there. So in between here, there's going to act as some type of resistance. And because of that, you'll see it typically come up and tap these areas here first before you see maybe continue down or continue up. And so what you can do is you can take it on a smaller time frame then and saying, all right, what time frame has the trending, a trending whatever, right? And so whatever you use to quantify a trending chart, that's what you want to use then to say, all right, we should either see it go up or see it go down. And then from there, play it. And so, but first, it's going to go and get liquidity to move in a direction. Tom, by the way, where is Pal speaking? Is he speaking? Yeah, or do you know?
It was supposedly in the 1 o'clock hour. I don't know when it was. Let me turn to CNBC here, see if any reports at all.
So what I'm looking for, you can see here, it's definitely basing here. And it's basically just looking to find some support. So like right now for me, we're starting to put some support on the 8-period moving average here. And we're starting to see it come in with volume here. You can see not a lot, but a little bit of volume. So I feel like it's getting ready to push up into this level first to get liquidity. So that's like that 104, 740 area that I just marked out from this level here. So for me, like I would, and I'm going to use this as an example, right? Let me go ahead. We'll just do paper trading here. Boom. Right. And I'll use this as a good example for me. Dang it. So I'll just see here, like we're getting ready to break out. And I would expect that right there. And my stop would be really kind of right here where we could kind of come back and find some support. I don't like just this level here, but you can sit there and see, all right, we're kind of getting ready to break out. We should see at least get to here. And potentially you could see it climb all the way up to the upper level of this fair value gap. And so you have, like I said, you have volume here. We've consolidated here. You can see that they established their position right at these levels. You know, if you're understanding of what's his name? Easy Money, or not Easy Money. What was it? Why am I forgetting his name? For whatever reason, my brain's just being a douche.
Well, at least you're honest about it.
Yeah, I forget the guy's name. Not institutional money. He talks about fair value gaps and smart money. There you go. Smart money principles. You can sit there and say, like, he talks about how the market will consolidate first, and then it will then expand out, and then from expansion, then consolidate again and either retest and then continue up, or it will then do a deep pullback, right? And this is kind of structure, understanding structure of market. And so what I like to do is correlate that with my own trading style that I look at quite a bit. And so you can sit there and say, all right, risk 100, potentially to make 200, if not, hopes to make about 600. So that's this level of here to here. And so you can sit there and see the play. And typically, well, you can sit there and watch it, right? But you can see here at that level, that's where we're sitting there, we're looking at, like I said, it's getting ready to kind of pop off here. And I looked at multiple time frames here to communicate to me that the direction it will most likely go up. Right now, again, this is that 1-to-1 level that we talked about. Boom. Right, we're here to here. So if you have multiple, like we only had one, but you could sit there. Is there a way to actually have more than one contract here? You know,
you got me.
So this is where I'd be looking to get out first. Right, this would be my primary area where I would want to get out. Right, and this is where I look to gain. You know, I move this up to here. I get this out here. So I've made my X amount of money, 70% out, boom, 60, 70% out. And then the other becomes just a runner, right? How far can I see this thing run? And so
well, hopefully you'll
where,
see it break right above your wick. There is the 200 period moving average, right, on the 5-minute chart. Well, if we can break that, then that's a good sign. If it closes a candle above that, the even better sign. We're going up.
So you actually have the 8 period, or the 89 period moving average here, but I don't think it's really strong here. And so that would then make the 5-minute 200 not necessarily strong at this time. Now it could be like, you can see right here. No, that's still not a good. All right, you can see a decent amount of 200. You see how it kind of has that little support area. You have the 8 or you have the 400 period in conjunction. You can
that's
see
the 400 period.
Yeah, 200 is the purple, 400 is the 8. And so I can correlate my 200 and 400 as a zone, a dynamic zone that moves. Okay. And so when I'm looking at this, I want to sit there and say, all right, let's see some movement. And so I'm looking at this and sit there and say, is this thing going to continue up? Well, I typically like my 200 and my 400 to look like this. Okay.
Yep.
Versus, let's say, something like, I'm looking for other. Oh, come on, dog. Right here. Yeah, so you see how this is the op. You can still fairly see it right here. Like you can see, my 400 is sitting, my 200 is sitting right here, and so I would want to place. You can see how they're trending. You see this right here. You see this trending right here between the 200 or between the 400 and 200. I like seeing it, but more closer. Something that's similar to this right here, like the 89 and 200. I like to see it trending in a very close range, and especially if you can see the 400 and 200 in a close range just starting to get going, that's what I'm looking for, right? So this is some of the stuff that we want to bring to you guys, right? Like we're thinking about that, right? Like you can see here that your 400 is more sideways and your 200 is down, so it's not really a strong it's not a strong 200 right there. And so I would expect it, like I said, to push through it. And so now we're just looking just to gain profit. So if we'd had multiple contracts here, or we could pull out on a percentage level. Obviously, this is just a type position, reverse position, close position. I wish I can play with this on position. Oh no, hello. How do I change that? Is that in? Boom. So one of the other things I'm always looking for as well is I want to see, so when I start to see the market start to push, I want to see an increase in buy volume, right? So I want to see this market start to get going and see it really pick up real buyers. So you can see here, we're starting to see here, what time is it? 2:05. Or it's 2:0. We're at, so we could see this thing come back, tap this area.
It's 2:30.
No, I know. I get it, but
I'm trying to chart. Sorry.
Yeah. I partition my 5 minutes, so I want to sit there and see it. So we're going up first. Let's check out the 1 hour here. Boom. So we already tapped that. So we potentially should play off of this level here and then come back down. Kind of play off that. So we'll see what's going on here. 30-minute. Boom. Perfect. So that's weak. So we should, so they came and tapped this. It's going to act as resistance, but not supply. Resistance means that it's just acting as something that's going to fight against, right? But it doesn't mean that it's going to like make it shoot down. Most of the time it doesn't. So it's acting as resistance, i.e. liquidity. Right, so it's just basically the sellers are feeding the buyers because we're seeing them absorb those sellers at these levels here. And so you can sit there and say, okay, we should continue. And that's why I look at the time and I go, all right, I'm about a minute into this and I'm not seeing a bunch of seller wicks coming in. So let's see if this will give me a 1 minute chart. Yeah. So it's playing off that 1 minute chart there. We can see it kind of coming in. Boom, pop up. Oh yeah, it won't give me that. I forgot. You stink. Your mother smells like, your father smells like, what was it? Elderberry. That's what I'm looking for. Here we go. Boom. So we're playing off of this here.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Is it bad that I have that queued up and ready to go?
I love it, dog. We need more of those. We really.
Fart in your general direction.
Yes. We need more.
Excuse me
The
while
price-
I whip this out.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see what happens here. Then we're
If you
getting
ain't
kind of a
first, you're
surge.
last.
All right, so we want to see this go down first before we start to continue up. It's a good amount of volume coming in here. Let's check out your 1 minute here. Not too good, your 1 minute. So we definitely did kind of see it kind of fall back down. So I'm expecting it. So this is why we take our profit 60-70% at that level here. And so we basically want to see if this thing could run and continue up.
Yeah, it looks like it's getting rejected by the 5-minute 200 period moving average. It pierced it, but did not close above it. Coming back down.
I'm expecting this to go back up, so it's going to pull back into this level here. Boom. Why can't I change my positions? Why can't I have more than one position?
I want to thank everybody for watching on Rumble today. We had a good crowd there. I looked up at one point. We had 16 people watching us at one time. Thank you very much to everyone that's sticking around there. Still 9 of you there, but thanks to everyone that tuned in, even for the briefest amount of time. It all counts and helps with our viewership. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps out a lot with the algorithm on all of these channels.
So you can sit there and see that right there. We need to start doing more of this right here. Like just simply just opening this up and saying, all right, guys, this is what we're gonna do. And then just play this, like, give you guys pay for your view time, basically. So right, if I can give you, if you make 30, 40 an hour, 50 an hour, then hey, you watching us, we'll start doing this. And on top of that, by the way, we'll just let's go ahead and transition, because we're kind of coming up to the close here, right? Wow, it's already 2 o'clock.
2:30.
Yeah, 2:30. What are the real, like, so we've been talking about the app and the app getting going, and so what's the plan for that, so we can really, because it's already 6 months into the year, and I really want to see.
I actually got the app programming interface up and running again, and I had a few people, including Crypto Mike, test the last one, and it actually worked pretty well, except I didn't have any security built into it, so everyone could alter everyone's information. It was not exactly ideal. And then by the time I got back at it, my trial period had expired with them, and so I had to. But now I have an account with them, and we will. It's called TradeWave, and a number of you have heard about it before. But the point is to have an app in which our viewers can interact with, just to see the trades that both Pedro and I, but mostly Pedro, but I'll have a little section too of the trades that he's looking for. The areas in which we're going to keep it simple at first, not complicated stuff like do this and that and watch these bands and go around the corner and jump up and down like a chicken. Just simple things like looking for BTC to retrace to this level. If it hits, then you get out at this level. That type of stuff, and have that, and have like 10 or so. Well, not gonna put shitty trades up, but have at most 10 things there that people could really look forward and pick and choose what they want to follow. And it would be an app in which the people that do use it, and it would be a subscribe app for it's going to be a nominal amount of money, but we want to be able to monetize our content. And you'd be able to chat with other people and share your trades and share your, as Pedro and the day trading community calls them, share your receipts, and make it a platform for learning. But it's not going to be a day trading platform where you're degenning and stuff like that. That's beyond my, at this point, programming capability. Unless a big company like CDW or somebody wants to sponsor us and give us a bunch of money, then it's a different story. But right now, in bootstrapping ourselves up, it's going to be TradeWave. I already have a website for that. Of course, it's not tradewave.com because somebody already owns that. It's a similar one. But it's going to be a good thing. I hope to be able to spend some time on it in the next few weeks before the U.S. holidays come out in July and my birthday.
Maybe we should do a .io.
That might exactly be what it is.
I was going to say tradewave.io.
Are you on that bouncing ball again thing?
Yeah, bro. I'm at a point now, bro. I can literally chill here for an hour, bro. And it works in my legs. It is strengthening. I used to have, my knees used to be all swollen. They're going away.
You're going to have these wide rugby style thighs on you. just from doing.
For real, dog. They're already, you know what I found out? Did you know that by you working your quads, it actually makes you smarter? It helps your brain to focus. No joke.
Blood flow?
There's a lot to it, but the biggest key is that it actually produces enzymes that activate almost your whole, longevity, helps you to look young and strong. It produces more
I must be working my quads out then.
You know what's funny is I've been around you. You have a little bounce, and it's not coming from when you walk, and you don't necessarily bounce off your. You don't walk on your toes. When I walk, I have a little bounce, right? But it's really because I walk on my toes, right?
I used to a long time ago, and I worked it out, but I still slide into it every now and then.
Well, I think you still do a little bit of a bounce, and I think it comes from your quads. I think your body maybe was like.
I'll tell you where it came from is that it came from playing golf, because back in the day, before you had your everything on your phone and your location and GPS, your stride had to be 1 yard to measure how far you are away from things. And when I was young, my stride was not a yard, and so I had to.
Yeah.
I was about 2.5 feet was my stride when I was 10 years old. So I would have to hop a little bit, and so I played golf every day as a young kid.
Why you are.
And so I developed a little, the bounce thing there.
Yeah.
But if you were to see, I got wicked strong quad. I could probably squat 900 pounds, 15 reps, no problem.
But the thing is,
this is striking over here is going, ah!
But I've never looked at your quads, nor do I ever want to. Okay, but you do walk with that little. So you still have that little jump, and
that's what it's from.
And so all those years of you doing that, you've been working your quads.
Oh yeah. And I'm at 2 steps. And when I go upstairs, I always take 2 at a time and run up the stairs. And so.
Oh, makes sense. I remember walking next to you when we were doing it. I said, bro, I can't walk. Dude, you were literally I'm more of a chill walker. Ask Tom. I'm like.
Oh, you should walk next to this one over here. First of all, she's taller than me. So in her stride, she's got awesome. Legs from here to there. And so the speed at which she can walk, it's greatly outpaces me. And so I've worked up the muscles to keep up. But I'll tell you though, but not the lung capacity. After a while, I'm like, honey, it's slow down there.
She's what is she? Oh, I'm not gonna say her age. She might next time she'll see me. She's like, you said my name. Then I'm a dead man walking. You're like, no, Tom, Florf. He's like, that's all on you, bro. That's all on you. But yeah, thank you guys for coming in again today. Thank you. You rock the mic, every one of you. So thank you for showing up today. All of you guys on X, all 18 of you guys on X, all I think 150 people on Rumble, and we probably had about 100 plus.
I think we had 20,000 on Twitch. I think they mistook us for the latest Call of Duty tournament.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, baby. Yeah, 20,000. It was funny is, I somebody. So there's this thing going on X where it's talking about short guys, right? And basically, I guess what was it? I don't look at the dating apps. Which one is like the major dating app? No,
You got
Tinder.
me.
It was Tinder. I think it was Tinder. And so they just changed the thing on it that says now, if you're 6 foot and above, women can now like.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, which is hilarious because I'm like, I'm just not into that like online dating stuff. And somebody was like, you should think about doing it. And I'm like, I'm just old fat. I'm like, I'm horrible online. Like if you look at me, meet me face to face, totally different story. But if you just look at me, like you're gonna be like, oh, this guy's a fat, long-haired, grain Mexican. Why am I even gonna Jewish Mexican or whatever, right? And you're gonna look at him like, yeah. I've actually had friends of mine who goes, dude, don't do online dating. You suck as like, just because I'm always a bit sardonic and kind of making fun of people or whatever. But like face to face, you're great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we got for you today.
All that to say is thank you for joining in today. We appreciate every one of you guys. And please do us a favor, go down into the comment section, make a statement, or just come into our community. We have a Telegram, and love for you guys just to come in, interact with us, and talk. And really like you guys, every one of you.
The deets are in the body of wherever you're watching this. Their Telegram link, our website link, all that type of stuff. If you're looking for someone to spice up your own broadcast, feel free to hire us. We'll gladly whore ourselves out for that. But anyway, as always, ladies and gentlemen, the man next to me in the box over here is Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. We'll be here again tomorrow at the same bat channel, same bat time. Zen and Crude, Draco. Thank you, Roland Rod, everybody for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.